Would it have been a smart idea to just, like, wait, like, 3 weeks for the next season to start this? Probably, but oh well. Hey everybody, welcome to Limbus Company. Yeah, I have been very much enjoying Project Moon's games, and Limbus is no different. And this isn't going to be one of my proper LPs. I'm not going to hold myself to daily uploads. The way I'm going to be playing Limbus is I'll be doing the battle pass, but that's it, because this is not my personal account. My personal account, I definitely am doing more. But yeah, this part, yeah, Limbus on what I play through is going to be free to play. Aside from the battle pass, because the battle pass is just really useful overall. But regardless, let's hop in. Hopefully I can get rid of the bottom bar later. I just have to do some weird stuff initially with getting everything up. I think I can go into settings and change things later on. I believe the mouse changes to something more thematic later on. This is being recorded just before the R-Corp Honglu. So yeah, I could wait for Walpurgis as well. That would be smart, but oh well. Well, I should be getting some decent. Well, should be getting stuff on the battle pass as well. As per usual, I will be, quote-unquote, voice acting the stuff. To that end, hold up. Lower that a bit. We'll lower voice. The voice acting is very good, but I don't know, I want to be a little bit better for the English listening audience. See now, you can't run from us. You dare interrupt me just as I was engraving the censored. He must be out of you. If we're being technical, what our master's planned apparently isn't one of the city's taboos. It's just the kind of thing that no one has ever dared to consider. You catch my drift? Huh? Would you look at that? You managed to get a different head in so fast. People like you always come prepared. Just wait till I get the censored. You'll be no match for my. I get that. I guess that new dog doesn't come with a mouth, huh? Yep, taking that's all I can hear. I think they're screaming on the inside. It's sticking faster, so I guess they can still feel pain. Damn it, why am I being attacked? Not good. Memories are dissolving already. The whatever was done too quick. What, they've gone quiet already? Let's get this over with. Wolf, this is a place no one visits and somewhere none can see. What's the hurry? Let's follow her teachings. Can't drag on any longer. Yeah, but this is the moment of a lifetime. Not gonna get a second chance to kill someone of this caliber. Lion, you have a tendency to grow too emotional during your jobs. I hope you show some discretion. It's a shame. Wanted to have a look at your face. Ricky won't tell us where your star is, right? Like hell I am. I'm taking its location to the grave with... Where was it supposed to be again? My memories are escaping me too quickly. Right, no mouth. Which in turn means we won't learn how to acquire it from this person. Can I hand him now? Sure. Huh? Hey, what's that noise? Don't tell me, Panther, do you allow yourself to be tracked? No. There was no one that could have pursued me. Perhaps a wild animal? This is not the sound a beast would make. It's a bus. How'd it even end up here? Must have taken a wrong turn. The price they'll pay for taking the wrong road will be heavier than they expect. I don't know what you expected when you walked in front of a bus. I passed the line in strength. If my eyes are still right, then you will reach the Harbor of Glory. Who are you? And a plate says, Faust? You've lost your way in a dark forest. I'm sorry, what? Yet you were not overcome with fear. Why was that? I could simply lift my head to find the star. That's right. Now, repeat with the heart what I tell you aloud as you remind yourself that image. Follow your star. Follow your star. At that moment, felt a sudden thump in my head, followed by the sting of several chains penetrating my chest. Relax. Though it may feel otherwise, your heart is still functional. With this, the pact has been sealed. Dante, from this day forth we are bound to your time. But the beating of our hearts now depends on where your hands fall. I hope you'll make a fine leader. Our? Is that really everything? A single apple has fallen. This guy's still not making any sense. Ah, jeez, the weight was killing me. Finally some action now? I guess we could use a little warm-up. Why is it that wretch miserably writhing on the ground? They to be the newest addition to the team? You might want to watch your words. I heard that's our soon-to-be boss. The attack must have happened in an instant. I'm impressed you managed to hide your head. Who are you people? What's up with this bus? We are the bearers of justice who have come to aid you. And this is the magical bus that takes us wherever we wish to go. Justice? Bus? I don't... Wasn't that what you expected to hear? Either way, you're better off believing us to be your saviors. We're racing against time, and the situation isn't in our favor. So let me explain this once. After some time passed. So if I'm not mistaken here, and I do as you've said, those total strangers will fight for me? Correct. As long as you give them the right orders. Alright, so we'll kill these arrogant vandals dead. Then I'll go back to where I was. And... Sorry about that, I had something I had to take care of right when I start, but now well. Something extremely important was upon me. Something I shouldn't forget. Calm down. It's only natural to happen with your current head. You should focus on the struggle at hand, Dante. Pardon, I'm not sure I should address you. Will Commander Glock suffice? In any case, we await your orders. Do we really need orders? Seems like going one-on-one is the only way. Hey! Quit running off your mouths! Just need to crush them all. Please do your best, Dante. There's no two ways about it, I suppose. Time for the patented terrible Project Moon tutorials. There we go, now things are fixed. Basics of management and command. In some combats, you'll be given things on here. We really do not have, like, nearly as much information as we usually want. I think it's still a little bit before we get proper access to stuff, and I can actually explain what the hell is going on. And I want to say the actual names of our people, but well. Also, something that doesn't help these tutorials is that I believe some of them are outdated. A resonance, which is chaining multiple things of the same color. Again, we'll get into more detail later. It has an effect, but it's incredibly minor in terms of most of the time. There is one specific other instance, which again we'll get to later once we have access to more things. Again, I'll get into more detail later. It doesn't really matter too much, and it doesn't help that I actually don't know these abilities. Well, again, it doesn't really matter too much what we do right now. Again, hopefully I can, once I fully have access to options, I can get rid of the bottom bar by going full screen on this monitor. You can see right now that this person has a little blue bar next to them. That is something that is very important, but we'll get into that later. You can kind of see it's a bit segmented. Yeah, same with this one over here. Stuff we'll get into later. And, things aren't going well for us. Don't worry, that's supposed to happen. I don't get it. Is what line struggled against? Whoa, hang on. I know this is kinda weird coming from someone you were just fighting, but I'm pretty sure we could talk this up. This is unideal. I knew it was a ridiculous idea to put up a fight against them. You kidding? Haven't even... What the hell is going on? You said you'll fight in my stead! Well, you never promised to win said fights. Honestly, that's my favorite line in the one. Maybe not the whole game, but I love it. What? And it seems that I'm the only survivor. Okay, so you were waiting for this? You have some hidden card up your sleeve, right? Not necessarily a trump, no. Rather, it's about following the star. Was this some kind of suicidal performance? Not the funnest life's end. What am I supposed to do? They jumped in triumphantly only to die like flies. I can't remember a thing about the past since I repeated what she said. Is this how I die? Tell the serpent this, false lion. This flow cannot be stopped. Red? But why? Do you know why I only dismembered those two? Because at least one of you needs to be able to carry the rest out of here. And you're the only one left to offer them any help. Red gaze. Don't glare at me like that. It's nothing compared to what you did. With wounds like those, I'm sure your boss will recognize that you did your part. Consider them a medal of honor. Unless you want this to be the end of your life. What? You one of them? You're too late, they're already... No one is too late, Dante. There's only one thing we need. A little time to rewind. I'm suddenly overwhelmed by a sharp pain in my chest, as though my heart were being torn asunder. Followed by flashes in the ribs, intestines, stomach, and lungs. Engulfed in a deluge of torment, twisting and squeezing my entire body, loud in an agonizing scream. You... My fading consciousness, the only thing I could perceive, was the deceased flesh reconstructing in a bizarre manner. You'll suffer plenty from now on, Dante. In the voice of the man with red eyes. I hear the howl of a beast somewhere. Cries ceaselessly. Is it willing out of hunger, or... They're being itchy-twitchy. Did they get out? Awake at last. Would have been a tad disappointing if you croaked on us. Fresh morning. This is Karen, the bus driver. It's not morning, but I guess it's refreshing. How do you feel, Dante? Well, tick-tocking like a clock. Some language barrier this is. You may call me Virgilius. If you can understand what I'm saying, give me some kind of reaction, Dante. I gave him a quick nod since he didn't seem hostile. Good. At least your hearing is functional. That's right, Karen. Now departing. Vroom vroom. There was a heavy roar and vibrations, as though they echoed from the bottom of a deep mire. It was then that I realized I was aboard a bus. A bus. Can't be sure if I've ever ridden such a vehicle in the past. Do you remember who you were? I shook my head to say no. I'd been reminded that my head was now a clinking mechanism. I suppose you want your memory back, am I right? I nodded. I sure feel like an idiot. Smooth as it gets. What's to stop the rest of you from adopting this gesture-based communication? Any words of yours, Miss Faust? Faust will kindly turn down the offer. I doubt we'll have that much freedom over our own bodies most of the time. She's the one who spoke to me back in the forest. Silver hair that glistens even without sunlight gives off a rather mysterious air. Dante. Dante? Come to think of it, the red-eyed man has been calling me that, too. Dante is your name. The amnesia must be affecting you rather severely. Sure looks like it. Doesn't sound like a familiar word. You'll get used to it in time. Wait, do you understand me? The group that attacked me earlier, and that Vergi, or whatever his name was, or whatever he was called, seemed to hear nothing but ticking from me. Faust can hear what you intend to speak. You really can't? But how? I don't even have a real mouth. Outdated ideas must be one of the side effects that came with your head replacement. It's anachronistic to think that vocal organs such as the cords or tongue are necessary to participate in conversation. Anachronistic. Right, never considered that. You can limit the recipient of your words to one person or choose to speak to everyone at once. Little clarification, when I say everyone, I'm only referring to the sinners. Sinners? The people who have taken seats behind you, and the ones who fought in your stead until moments ago. What ho! So thou art the final piece that completes our journey's cast! How I have yearned for this moment! Hey pal, where'd you sell your old granny off? Oh, so is you. Thanks for putting my spine back into one piece. You're a surgeon or something, Ness? Everyone quiet. That's more displeasing than to hear a choir of noises. Suppose you all owe them a brief introduction. I'll give you time to make yourselves known. Starting with the closest one. Go on. Why is it always the ones in the front that go first? Second taking any sort of lead now? I heard you were gonna be our boss, or... yeah, manager. Manager? Yep. This is why I was really curious to meet you, and, forming the right sentence is tough work. Don't know what you did with your old head, but I guess everyone has their story. I'm Gregor. We're in this together, manager bud. Sinner is relatively easy to handle in terms of personality. However, an upsurge of emotion or a sudden change of environment may cause parts or the whole of his body to transform into insectile, notably akin to Carabus, resembling that of the censored, tissues, probably cockroach. If you do not wish to be a rude manager, not that you're obligated to be nice, we recommend keeping your facial expressions checked so that disgust is not visible to him. He sometimes uses cynical language, but he can be reasoned with, and you can get around him without much difficulty as long as you learn the knack of it. Greg, they aren't just your bud or pal. You're talking to the person who will make us filthy rich. Greg? Rich? What's that about? Let's see. What's better? Dante, don't mind if I call you by name. You can call me Rodia. Rodian, the unfortunate trait of being a backstreet spawn are apparent in the sinner. She loves money, gambling, and betting. So it is advised to pay close attention to her as the manager. She tends to deflect orders with an unimpressive wink or silly joke. We recommend taking a stern stance at times to remind her that you are her superior. Moon may be down at irregular intervals. There's nothing you can do to aid her in that state, so we recommend waiting for it to pass. I think there's a good reason you became our manager. I'm sure. It used to be a big deal back in the nest, right? When your old habits start coming back, we'll be that much closer to rolling in the dough. She does have sociability, I'll give her that. Oh gosh, look at me keeping on. Hey kid, it's your turn next. Good day. Boring. It's it. I'm Sinclair. Given the volatile nature of human growth around his age taken into consideration, this sinner seems to get particularly startled or frowned when spoken to. He isn't used to real combat at the moment, meaning that he may struggle to keep himself together at the sight of something as mild as spilt innards at first. As there may be those with violent tendencies among your crew, we recommend taking an approach focused on positive reinforcement with this sinner. He appears to possess a murderous gaze that he himself isn't aware of. It's a hopeful sign that he has the potential to grow into an expert of our company's profession with the right stimuli. This boy looks awfully unnerved. He even joined this company of his own accord. Is there anything else I need to say? I've never worked for a company before. Well, you'll learn the ropes in company days. Okay then, how about you next, nerdy pal? I'm Yusung. From the youngest chief researcher at the Redacted Wing, this sinner possesses higher intelligence compared to most others. We estimate that the everyday conversation with this sinner will prove difficult for managers selected by our current screening process. Avoiding communication altogether will pose a risk on its own, however. If the sinner remains silent for a long time, that means he is currently processing a line of deliberate thought. We recommend waiting patiently for him. That's all? That's it. No smoke or mirrors. So, one thing I will explain right now. Yisa uses a lot of Korean puns. Mainly, that's all is also said as Yisang. Is that. When he says unideal, that's another Yisang pun. I believe there's a couple more that he's fixed it, but it's mainly the ideal that we see. Wait for him to reveal that he was pulling a prank or something. That's why he says that. But he just stared vacantly into the window, disinterested. I can't believe you people. Aren't proper introductions the first step to being a member of society? Call me Ishmael, if you please. Maybe be disheartened by the defective state of many of your sinners, but do not worry. The sinner is one of the few who can carry out most missions without much complaint. She is likely to make reasonable judgments, so it is a good idea to start conversations while looking her way if you're seeking sound advice. However, you mustn't forget this sinner has survived an absurd voyage in far and wide body of water. Her patience may run deep, but once you take a wrong turn with her, it will be a difficult task to regain her trust. Her dear glued our bodies back together from pieces. Look forward to working with you. She gave a polite bow before returning to her seat. Although she emphasized sociality, she didn't feel like the most amicable sort. Sorry to disappoint, because I don't care too much for fitting in. Name's Heathcliff. Used to be a professional wrecker for property and people alike. Sinner prefers to take action rather than wait for logic to dictate his course. His thoughts and feelings are blatantly visible in his demeanor, and he has no intention of hiding them. His rashness may cause headaches for physical injury, leading to a headache, in the process of forming a relationship. Please do not. This is not an indication of serious damage to the sinner's thought process. If his fit of rage persists, please contact the Human Resources Department. Once you realize that he's the type that tends to be simple-minded, you'll have an easier time handling him. Not on anyone's orders, mind you. Elevated to buggers that got on my nerves. So you'd better watch it. Definitely allergic to cocky gaffers who think they can boss me around. I don't think I've done anything to give that impression yet. 'Tis my turn to speak. I am Don Quixote! There's no sinner that can outmatch this one's level of passion if we were to measure it. An avid aficionado of all things fixer, she adorns herself with a variety of fixer-related merchandise. They won't affect her performance in combat one way or another, so there's no need for you to restrict her from keeping her decorations. She is deeply immersed in the role of a righteous fixer, hence the exaggerated mannerisms akin to those of an actor. If such a thing ever existed, really. It's advised to play along with her for a smooth mission. I am a fixer who shall sprint for the dream side by side. A pleasure to have thee. Fixer? That definitely feels like a term I used to know. Dost thou not wish to know what it is? I can answer thy question. Fixers are protectors of the city. Perchance thou mayst struggle to remember the city. 'Tis... I believe I said this for brief introductions. Don't make me say it twice. Next. Name's Hogny. I hope we can get along well. A sinner who lived an affluent life before coming to our company's assets. As such, he has a certain admiration for free life, but occasionally he may make ignorant and unsavory questions in regards to the food cooked by a certain other sinner or aspects of low lives lowly culture. This caused significant irritation for the other sinners. However, it is important to note that no sarcastic undertones are contained in his curiosity-driven inquiries, so it is ill-advised to let them get physical over it. Ah, look at you! Is that a fascinating head there? Popular model these days, I suppose? This isn't that kind of... it's not of my interest, though. What's wrong with your attitude? Heathcliff looked to be just moments away from swinging his bat. But when he realized that the red gaze laid on him, he grunted and sat back down. It's Ryoshu. As they say, every person has their own creed. It's only right to respect as the executive manager. While some creeds, you have difficulty in even simply pretending to sympathize. You will have noticed that the sinner in question is a silent chain smoker whose eyes shine with euphoric gleam only during battle. She believes that senselessly destroying the enemy's heads is an uncultured act, step backward for art. Caution, the sinner's background is one that even our company may have trouble handling. It is advised against making her breed personal resentment towards you. Sure is nice to meet you. At what point was I supposed to laugh? Marceau, please refer to me as such. Wants clear and concise commands, requiring no judgment on his part. I love Marceau. You're pretty polite. This isn't anything special. I'm simply behaving normally. I'm almost touched. Merci. Yes. I felt as if something were gravely amiss with him, but I can't seem to pin it down exactly. The way she scans me up and down was a little daunting. I felt almost compelled to bow to her, but she stopped me with a motion of her hand. Please, I would never make my manager grovel before me. My name's Otis. I'd like to apologize for my rudeness earlier. Sinner could serve as an excellent advisor depending on your capability. However, she also has a meddlesome tendency, so it is recommended to keep her satisfied with short replies of agreement. She's an expert when it comes to tactics and various pearls of wisdom about life, making her advice all the more valuable for your mission. In addition, she possesses a vast knowledge of workshop technologies. You can trust her with simple repairs of the bus. Notice, unlike other sinners, accessing records pertaining to the past of this sinner is not permitted. Warning, keeping eye on this sinner, and beware that she does not exercise her cunning intellect for purposes other than completing our company's mission. Rudeness. Oh, please. Your generosity is a humbling sight. I knew at first glance that you have what it takes to lead us. Sorry. While most humans cause noise and friction as a result of confrontation, some are able to reap mutual benefit from coming head to head. It can be compared to the relationship between a blade and a whetstone. I vow to serve you with unrivaled devotion, Executive Manager. My blade is yours to wield. That's reassuring. Thanks. I gave her an approving nod, even though I don't get what you meant by her rudeness. I'm amazed at how you can sing such bold-faced high praise not too long after calling them a miserably writhing wretch. I think I see now. It seems I am the last. Faust is the name. The sinner who developed the engine of Mephistopheles is the bus operated by Limbus Company. She claims there is no one in the city who could rival her library of knowledge and wisdom, and she isn't necessarily wrong. You might find her high and mighty attitude when she allows you to converse with her displeasing, but it is seen with how she treats everyone subtle gestures of arrogance. There's no hope of her parting with it ever. We recommend simply nodding once and agreeing and getting over with it. Even though she has an unparalleled genius, we can't figure out quite how to use this one. Perhaps you could be the one to find out. A genius with whom you're lucky to cross paths even once in your life. Sounds like you aren't convinced, Dante. Well, it's fine. You'll come to learn all in due time. Learn what? That Faust is indeed a brilliant mind. The proverbial tree falls, the fact that its sound cannot become truth when the outside observer fails to recognize it. Okay. There's enough greetings. Dante, let me explain your new occupation. You mean as the manager? They're asking if the job you're about to explain is that of the manager. Come to think of it, that red-eyed man couldn't hear me, unlike the sinners. That's correct, Executive Manager Dante. You're both on a trip to the Inferno. 12 sinners who've just introduced themselves. The Inferno? Why should I go to hell? They're asking why they need to travel to the Inferno. How about this? Treasure waits at the end of the road. That suffice? Then I used to be a treasure hunter or something? They can't seem to answer at all. And not ask for your understanding, Dante. Nor is it a question of your willingness. You'll have to listen to me if you want to reclaim your memories and original head. I mean, I feel in the back, but they're hesitant. Miss Faust, what will we do if Dante keeps on refusing to cooperate? There's no scenario we anticipated. Preposterous. Faust anticipates every possibility. Dante, once you complete all your missions, you'll be able to engrave the aspect. I can promise you that. An aspect. A word that strikes my mind intensely. You know, my memories are gone, my underlying instincts are responding strongly to it. Let my intuition I make my choice. See there? They're nodding. Good. Then we can continue. By the way, Caroline, why is the bus moving? Are you dozing off? A bus driver only sees that rest stops very... Weirdos are hanging around in front of Mephi. Told you, Caroline, if anything happens with the bus, you've got to let me know right away. Mephi? Who's that? Mephistopheles, the name of this bus and the engine that runs it. And Faust's magnum opus cordis. Magnum opus cordis. An ideal ferryboat to carry barrels across the Inferno. Won't you agree, Dante? I wasn't sure what he was getting at, so I turned away to look through the window instead of giving a reply. It's like they're just another pack of dirty rats living in the back streets. It's just the right time, Dante, to make perfect targets for practicing your command. Dante, I skipped over many details during our first battle. You're telling me. We were short on time, after all. However, we'll be slaughtered frequently if no improvements are made to your strategy. And in turn, you have to endure senseless pain over and over again to revive us. Pain? Revive? I mean, what happened earlier was... Yes, we were brought back to life because you turned back the clock. I don't believe that much is necessary, Miss Faust. Save the chatter for later. Sinners, off the bus. Allow me to elaborate on combat. She will not do a good job of it. Let me tell you. Project Moon continues to be awful with their tutorials. Right now we're still required to select these 5 sinners. Sinners are just characters, don't worry about it. We'll get more details later. You get speed values, it's kind of the same as Runa. The game is quite similar to Runa. These are how it plays. Okay, now we can start seeing what our stuff actually does. I'm probably gonna want to lower that sound effect. One thing that I keep forgetting, there is stuff that we can see on our end in terms of our weaknesses and stuff like that. Again, we'll get into more details later. You'll see, we'll take X combo is probably, yeah, X combo is probably one of our better ones. You'll see, well, it doesn't really matter too much. So you'll see for Jag, there's a 3, I can't quite have it show up constantly, whatever, and show it with the mouse, but you see that there's a 3, followed by a 10 plus. The way that this game works is it's a lot of coin flips. Every art, or I'm gonna call them arts, they're just skills, is what they're called, but again, I'm Xenoblade pilled, so I'm gonna call them arts. But all of them have different amount of coins to them, and that will generally determine how many attacks you have on it, and how many chances you have to flip heads. Generally speaking, there are a few exceptions. You want to roll heads as much as possible. So, for example, and you'll also see that there's a 3 over 13. That's the baseline versus the maximum. So, for example, if Gregor were to roll heads on this, he would roll a 13. Meanwhile, if he didn't, he would only roll a 3. This will be more important later on. We can also see on heads hit as a conditional, inflict 1 rupture counts. And we can see over on the left, rupture is one of the 7 main statuses in the game. And rupture is basically extra damage on dealing a hit. It's just, you will be able to see statuses in a little bit. Tremor. Tremor does nothing by itself, but it ends up really helping later on. Bleed is the same as in Ruina. They'll take damage for every time that they toss an attack coin. Sinking inflicts sanity damage. We'll see that this little number by us, and also by them, that is a 0. That is your sanity. Sanity is just well, not just a modifier, but it is a modifier to how often you roll heads. It essentially adds weight to your coin, but not attack weight. That's something we'll get to much later. Actually, not too much later, I don't think. And so, you get it goes from negative 45 to positive 45. So, at your lowest, you have a 5% chance of rolling heads, and at maximum, at 45 SP, sanity, whatever, you'll have a 95% chance to flip heads. Sinking will lower SP by the amount that it has. There are some enemies that do not have sanity. It will just deal a damage type instead. Offense level down, it's really confusing, offense level. Yeah, we can see things in action right now. Yeah, that's just mentioning the coins. So since Faust has 2 hits, she swings twice. Enemies will be attacking as well. And this is kind of the main reason you want to know what your coin rolls are, because matching up against one will result in a clash. So, yeah. The game will have on the top, there we go, will show there are 5 levels. There is hopeless, struggling, neutral, favored, and dominating. Generally speaking, you want to go for things that are dominating. However, depending on your strategy, it could be useful to do things that are lesser just to get better effects, and risk it. But generally speaking, just go for the thing that wins the most. Enemies will also speed as well. I don't exactly know how targeting works in encounters like this. There's 2 types of encounters. There's the standard encounters and focused encounters. We don't get to focused encounters for a little while. For the statuses, we can see that there is a 4 and a 1. The number on the left for any status will be the potency. That is how much it rolls. So, for example, when this person flips their coin for Clunky Stab, they will take 4 damage. And the 1 is how many times this will happen. Once he flips that coin for Clunky Stab, it will go away, and he won't take any damage if he were to win the clash or bonk in the clash. Some statuses will have no number next to them. That is only for 1 turn. Power down, again, is... okay, power down I can actually explain. Power down is simply just a modifier to the coin value. Meanwhile, Paralyze will force a coin to... it'll force as many coins as there are counts of Paralyze, or as there is potency of Paralyze, I suppose, technically speaking. Will force the potency, or force the amount, to be... force the coin to be 0. Paralyze is an incredible status, but it is very rare. Paralyze also is only lasts the turn. When someone runs low on sanity, they'll have different effects. We can't actually see what theirs is, but yeah. You'll notice on the bottom of skills that there is a little icon. The one that... here. This here. It's the same damage types as in Ruina. Blunt, Pierce, Slash, and that's it. Different enemies have different types of weaknesses. Yeah. Different enemies have different weaknesses to different damage types. You're looking much more useful than before, Dante. They all got away, save for one, though. Shouldn't we go after them? They're worried over the foes we lost. No need for concern. That's the direction we were heading anyway. Carry on. Battle touches metal. Up for an exciting ride. It's a very good cast of characters, I will say, by the way. And we still don't really have too much access. This total does last pretty long, I will say. Yeah. We can see, and there's the weaknesses over here. You can see the, we can't fully see everything in the way that I would like to. But still. Clicking on someone's portrait will give them their guard skill. Guard skills, well, will be guarding. There are 3 different types. Okay, technically 6 different types. I actually don't know if one of them exists yet. But there is guard, which will, I believe, just give you just lower defense, or it might give you shield. I don't remember fully. Guards are pretty bad. There's counters, which, get this, will counter. And evades, which work the same as in Runa, where if you manage to get the evade, you won't take any damage whatsoever. I'll have to see with Gregor. Again, guards are pretty bad. Okay, it does give you shield. Yeah, generally speaking, guards are pretty bad. They're definitely the worst type of, definitely the worst of the, definitely the worst of the defense types. There we go. That's what I'm going for. Yisang lost his clash. We can see that Analytic Eye showed up on Faust. That is her passive activating. We'll get to passives once we can actually look at the characters. We're at like 40 minutes of tutorial. Give me a second. What is it? I joined this company because I was told that I'd be able to advance my career without slowing down. Right now, it's nothing but meaningless violence like we're rats or something. I object to its meaninglessness! Those were evildoers who attacked us! Please, just be quiet for a moment! Anyway, if all we're gonna do is beat people up under orders like hired thugs, I'll have to consider changing jobs sooner or later. Haven't you read your contract? Resignation is not permitted. Do you think the contract has any sway if it's based on lies? Of course it does. There were no lies in it, huh? You didn't think Mephistopheles was built as a mere means of transportation, did you? Mephi is always hungry. He keeps crying. The bus gets hungry. When the engine ingests fuel, it yields a byproduct. Using that, you can grow more powerful. I'm sure Yisang knows this well. When all possibilities are drawn from the mirror, there is no limit to one's growth. Is the self in the mirror my reflection, or another being entirely? Possibilities? You draw what exactly? Now we're gonna get into the gacha mechanic. Who... Go to extract. When you press that, and if we click on the middle, we get things showing up. This red means that we get a 2-star. There are really 2 tiers. There's the 2 stars and the 3 stars. That's it. You also have your base ones, which are the 1 stars, but basically the gacha mechanic, instead of getting new characters, you get you get alternate reality versions of your characters that are, well, it's complicated. And back into Selva Obscura. Obscura. Keep forgetting that you can do that. But right now we have a so we attach She Association. That one's always guaranteed to be She Association. I see. That's what that was about. There's no need to get impatient to smile. As the bus goes onward, you'll naturally take on more important tasks than beating the life out of random crooks. You know, you're eager to achieve your goals, but do try to have patience. Since this works by whisking out one of our limitless possibilities from the mirrored world, we'll have overwritten a part of our memories. You'll get used to it in no time. Whoa, hanging on, that sounds a bit dangerous, don't it? What if I'm no longer my old self by the end? Don't mistake yourselves for the ship of Theseus. While it's true that you borrowed the identities and memories, the system is designated to ensure that you don't lose control of your own existence. Different though your reflection may be, it is bound to vanish once you walk away from the mirror. How our capabilities grow ultimately depends on you, Manager Dante. It's up to you to place the most effective figment of possibility on us at the right times. I believe that's what you call a metamorphosis. Yes, I suppose you could say that. It's a form of transformation. Callie, where'd you learn big words like that? Picked it up. Our profession required meeting people with various occupations. Verwandlung, eh? Done chatting. Just make the way first. Spend more time together than you ever asked for, so keep a comfort for later. It's again, being someone who is actually really far in, it's weird seeing Virgilia say convo. You can now actually go and... Oh, well, never mind. We can't actually see the thing yet. Ishmael just gave herself Poise. Poise is one of 2 self-inflicted statuses. Ow. Poise gives you a critical hit chance, which does 1.5 times damage. So, for 2, we'll... Yeah, I can mention this now. Actually, I'll mention it when we can actually see all of our passives. I forgot that waves happen. So, when you see that bar that I mentioned earlier, when you see that, you can hold down on the portrait, and you can activate their Ego. Ego are your big nuke skills. They're the most powerful skills that you have with... there's a couple skills that actually challenge Ego. But they cost resources. And this is what you really are building up with a lot of your training. You're building up your resources. You can see what they all have here. And you can see that they all have different effects. Q2s will get eventually, but whatever. Representation Emitter. We can see it has these 3 bars on attack weight. This means it will target 3 enemies. So, attack weight is very useful, but it's not super reliable. But yeah, there's not honestly too many skills that have attack weight, but they are very useful when they do have attack weight. Because again, you're hitting more enemies. Again, Poise gives you a critical hit chance. It's 5% per potency. Now we unlock the way that you usually play the game, pressing the win rate button. Generally speaking, it's fine if you just press win rate. It's not always the case, but generally speaking, standard cons you can just press win rate. Well, it's clear. But Varric, maybe could run them over just fine. Huh? What did I fight for then? Sensing a rattling agitation in my gestures, Virgilius stepped in. Calm yourself, Dante. It's not right to ask a toddler to run when it has yet to take its first steps. You'll need every opportunity to try and walk before you're made to run. Furthermore, Dante, as the manager, it's your job to manage your staff. And I am the guide. I decide where we go and how we arrive there. Do you get it? Don't argue with me. How am I supposed to not question a stranger who can't even hear me? I heard a ticking. So what did they say, Miss Faust? Nothing much. Some verbose agreement, that was. A nod should be enough to let me know that you approve, Dante. Now, Mephi, off we go. Woohoo. How are you feeling, Charon? Extreme. Excitement. About to walk on air reports, Charon. Good. So, where are we going? Virgilius, they'd like to know the destination. I believe I told you that already, Dante. But just where are we going? The side of the bus shuddered and started to rumble forward.
출발할게. 부릉부릉.
지역으로 출발하지.
Thank you, Millie. Also with Myth and Royd. Yay, I have access to things now. Woo! Oh, what is this? Okay. Yay! I'll be getting this. Don't worry, I'll be getting all this stuff. Battle Pass is unlocked. I'm not gonna get super far in this season's Battle Pass, so I'm not really gonna do too much with it. But the way that I'll go into tutorial stuff next time. And yeah.